Yes.
Yes? Okay, well, maybe next month we'll do coffee and donuts and see if more people will come. Thank you. You're going to have to sit up front. Oh, here she comes. We're just going to wait another moment for Rosemary. Now, before we start, Rosemary gets situated here. It's nice to see people here at the meetings. We're getting more people for whatever reason, and whatever reason that is, that's always a good reason. And, you know, we've always encouraged people to come up and say their piece. And we just want to have gentle reminders here. Good morning, come on in. There is this word called decorum. And as a board, and I think for the last couple of years, we've done really well with not hurting each other physically or whatever. And I'm just going to read you the meaning of decorum. Decorum is a successful meeting. Decorum for a successful meeting is built on mutual respect between the membership and the presiding officer. Comments and statements relating to personal motives and to personalities should not be made and may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Proper decorum at a meeting is no more than the exercise of common courtesy and maintaining respect for the rights of others. The presiding officer must require that the rules be followed at all times, and the chairman should not permit conduct which is disruptive, tedious, or dilatory. I just want to, that's always a gentle reminder. So now that Rosemary is here, we're going to do something a little bit different this morning before I start the meeting. Miss Peggy Christie she is on a lot of national boards. She is very, very patriotic. And she gets upset every time we say the Pledge of Allegiance because we don't say it correctly. And I am going to call the meeting to order. Then I'm going to have, before we stand up for the pledge, I'm going to have Miss Peggy just explain to us how to correctly say the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Call the meeting to order. Welcome again. Yes, we'll have to get you more seats. If somebody could get 3 seats. Oh, 4 seats. We have separate seats.
Yeah, I'll take the
Oh. Peggy, while we're getting more seats, if you could just come up and explain to the board and the residents the correct way of saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will stand up.
Morning. Nice to see you all here.
Peggy, I'm going to ask you to use the mic only for the.
Go down here. First of all, let's bring the flag out from under the speaker. Greg, can you help me just move this out, please? Just so the eagle's not behind. Oh, excellent. That'll do. Excellent. You know, the flag of the United States of America is the only flag that officially can have an eagle at the top of it. That's why when you go to your service organizations and so on, there'll be a ball or a spear or maybe nothing. But there's the eagle. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. In your brochure, I've underlined one nation under God, comma. And that's how you say it. Not one nation, brah, under God, brah. It's one nation under God, brah. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Now, if we can remember, including us board members. Okay? We will stand for a moment of silence for our fallen heroes, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance correctly.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you very much.
We all passed the test.
Yes. The top quiz for today.
Like anything else, when she keeps telling me, and I figured, we better take it up at a public meeting so that we can all understand that. Okay. Before we do the approval of minutes, I have a statement to read. At the last meeting, Mr. Benoit made a statement that he was going to quit the committee, that he has quit, and that he's going to take his resume out. Based on that, I contacted our legal department, the board contacted the legal department, and asked if that is something that's just off the cuff or whatever. And the legal statement is, Mr. Messer, Attorney Messer is the legal attorney for most homeowners associations and condos in Florida, and he is one of the top 10 attorneys in the United States for homeowners associations, so we are very fortunate to have him. His legal opinion is a resignation at a meeting such as this one is effective when announced and needs no acceptance. This is by state statute. The board cannot reject that resignation. If so inclined, per state statute, the board could vote to reappoint him. Otherwise, he has resigned. And because this is a workshop meeting, you don't have to sign in if you would like to have anything to say. If anybody would like to have anything to say at this time, you can please come to the podium, state your name and your unit number. We will have, please remember, decorum, but we don't do things like this lightly. And this board makes every effort before we do anything that could possibly harm an individual or Brookridge or the board. We always get the legal opinion first, because we want to make sure, I come from a legal background, and you always want to make sure when you make statements publicly and you do something that you have all your ducks in a row, because if you get sued, you would lose unless you have all of your information. And that is one thing that the board consistently does. We don't do anything lightly. We had no idea how to react to this, and it had to go to the attorney. So, that said, okay, thank you. The next order of business is approval of minutes of the Board of Directors meeting workshop meeting of 11/6. That was the last Tuesday meeting. The board has had a chance to review the written draft. Are there any omissions or corrections? Okay, then the approval of minutes as written. Okay. Thank you. Next we have correspondence, and I'm sorry, Linda Smith has been excused. She's up north in Michigan for the week. So I'm going to ask Ken Sajak if he would read the correspondence.
Yes, we received a letter on November 29, 2016. Hey, stay working like that.
Is it?
It's on.
Is it on mute? No.
Must have been a spider in there or something.
We received a letter November 29, 2018. Subject, Helping Hands Pancake Breakfast, February 2019. Dear President Metcalf and Board of Directors, Helping Hands A Brookridge Members Sewing for Charity Club asks your permission to allow people living outside of our community to attend our once annual pancake breakfast. The breakfast is to be held on the second Sunday in February. That would be February 10th, 2019, 7:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. in a great room at the clubhouse. We will need to be in the clubhouse by 6 a.m. In the past, our club has not incurred an overtime charge for this event. We would greatly appreciate your kind consideration in waiving that charge. We thank you in advance for your consideration of our request. Sincerely, Mary Sweeney, Helping Hands President, Unit 4. First of all, I make a motion to approve the general public into Brookridge for the Helping Hands Pancake Breakfast on Sunday, February 10th, 2019, 7:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Do I have a second? Second by Ron. Any discussion? Is Mary here this morning? No. Okay. Why don't you come up closer?
How about this? Oh, you.
Yes, there you go. Not too close.
In light of the failure of the budget and this event being in February, is how, I'm not sure how to word this, but how much of the cost is that going to be to Brookridge as far as operating the clubhouse? Because, I mean, for a one-day event, what?
If there's overtime, you mean?
Overtime, electric bill, AC?
That's in the normal, I would be more concerned about overtime because most of that is on. But Ray, do you have, Mr. Giroux, do you have any idea how much it would cost if we had to have overtime?
Not at this time. I can research it for you.
Okay, yeah, he'll come back. He'll come back with that.
With overtime.
Yeah, he will come back with that. Thank you. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Are we ready to a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and Raymond, and if we could come back with that information next time. It's probably a good idea to have it for most of them because of the restraints that we have now. Okay. So Ray can report the next time. Thank you, Ray.
I have another motion to approve adjusting the monitor schedule to accommodate early access to the kitchen facilities.
Do I have a motion, second? Second by Rosemary. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote. Thank you. Thank you. We have General Manager's report. Raymond?
Yes, the call for candidates deadline is Monday, December 17th, 4 p.m. for directors and other representatives. The administration office will be closed Monday, December 24th at noon, and all day Tuesday, December 25th. I removed $34,000 from the administration budget to balance the budget to $43 a month, pending reallocation by the board of directors. So the budget for $43 is on the table on the back.
And that is in response to the vote of the dollar. Okay. And so I think next month we should have a better idea as to how that's going to affect. You know, we have the information here, but then we can all get to look at it and talk about it again next month. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ray. Next we have, well, actually, Ray, I know it's not on the agenda, but last year we had, I got a report from the clubhouse manager, Vince Pizzo, regarding when we had changed the pool hours this past year, and I had asked him for an update as to how that is going because it was just a year ago that we did that. And I'm wondering if we could read that now under, under reports, or, Ray, if you could give a report from the clubhouse manager?
This just in.
Yes, it is.
Since we have made the change in the pool hours, the complaints have stopped. During the summer, it went very smooth. The early people came and enjoyed the pool while it wasn't too hot or the sun too strong. Later, the classes started, and the early ones either left or moved to the deep end. The new rules have really benefited the residents a lot in so many ways. It gives them more opportunity to either come early to the pool or come later in the evening when the sun isn't so strong. The winter hours are great. Only for a couple of days a week, we open it for the classes. We have a bit of a breather since we open at 9 a.m. in the winter and close at 8 p.m. after the time change. It saves 2.5 hours of labor a week during the winter months. It all balances out for the year. Reported by Vince Piso, clubhouse manager.
Thank you. And that seemed to be always be a problem at the pool, with the classes and things like that. And we worked really well with the residents and Vince to get that going. So, you know, it was something that the residents always complained about, and they're really happy now. So, good things happen. All right, thank you. We have no unfinished business. And our new business is only our appeal cases. Take it away, Ken.
Let the record reflect the following paragraphs will be inserted to the appropriate AVRC case decisions when noted and herein after reference as paragraph A or paragraph B. Paragraph A. The fine and/or suspension of privileges imposed will continue until compliance is met. It is the violator's responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer if compliance is met. Upon verification of compliance, any fines or suspension of privileges after the initial suspension is served will cease upon payment of outstanding fines and/or administrative fees. Paragraph B. All action, punitive or otherwise, decided by the BCPO Board of Directors will go into effect immediately upon all reoccurrences of this violation, 12 months into the future. If a reoccurrence happens, fines and suspension of privileges will be imposed immediately until compliance is met, in accordance with BCPO Rules and Regulations, Article 12, Section 3, and Section 6.
This one's heavy.
Okay. Case number 7197. The address is, hearing date is quote today. Address 8470 Fleetway Avenue. Visitor driving Jeep AZ tag BJC 7985. Traveling 25 miles per hour in a 20 mile per hour zone on Country Club Boulevard on 10/16/2018 at 17:02 hours. I recommend a penalty of $50 per occurrence and 30-day suspension of privileges. Paragraph B applies.
Do I have a second? Ray Welts, seconded.
This person is not here.
Oh, okay, this person is not here. Okay. So is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is a vote. And that is that hill there that we keep talking about. Remember, this is about safety, people. Nothing else but safety. Okay. Thank you, Ken.
Case number 7270. Address 8218 Country Club Drive. The complaint date is 11/19/2018. Golf cart number 231. Failure to stop at stop sign exiting clubhouse parking lot on 11/16/2018 at 1300 hours. The recommended penalty is $25 per occurrence, suspension 14-day privilege. Paragraph B applies.
Do I have a second? Rosemary seconds. Okay. Good. Ms. Bridges, if you'd like to come up to the mic. Well, not that you can like to come up to the mic. You got to come up to the mic. If you could just state your name and your unit number if you have it.
My name is Don Bridges. I don't know my unit number. It's 8218 Country Club Drive. Can you all hear me? Unit 2. This is a picture that was taken on my golf cart. This picture. Nice shot, right? Can we run a camera to see this violation?
Not here, not in this environment.
You had yours there, Greg, in the computer?
My computer's down at the office. I don't have the capability to run it here, no.
Mr. Bridges, were you able to view that? Did he come in to view that?
Yes.
Yeah, you had come in to view that.
You saw it.
You did come in to view it at the office.
Yes, I saw it, but I would like other people to see it.
That is not, video is something different. You are the person that's appealing, and you're the person that it affects.
Okay, here's another thing. It said you may present evidence and reasons why a fine or suspension should not be imposed.
Okay.
So I asked Greg if I could see the video,
Mm-hmm.
camera video of the illegal entertainment on Thursday night. He said yes, he would set it up so I could see it. But I didn't hear from anybody, so I don't know. I'll get out of this without.
Okay, just to answer that question, as far as management goes, that is a work product, and if you are involved, we allow you to see what is involved, but the rest of that is a work product.
I did not come to a complete stop, turning left on New Hampton from the parking lot. I made the turn in less than 10 miles an hour in daylight. You saw the video of my car making the turn. There's nothing. The reason I wanted to see the video is to say what else is on the highway. There's nothing. There's no golf carts. There's no people. There's no cars. There's nothing. Just me. I told Greg I would have paid the $25. I wouldn't like to. Wouldn't have liked to. But I would probably never do it again. But they added the 14-day suspension. They added a death penalty to the ticket for a first offense. Now, Ron and Ken, you're both golfers. If you have a 10:30 tee time and you go down early to play golf and you hit a few balls before you get there and you're ready to play at 10:15 and there's nobody on the tee, do you wait till 10:30 before you tee off? No. You figure, well, if somebody's going to be there, they would be there by now. So you tee off at 10:15 for 10:30 tee time. Common sense. When I pulled in up to the parking lot, there's nobody there. I pulled out of the parking lot. Common sense. I've lived in Brookridge, for 19 years. I've never had a violation of any kind. I renewed my driver's license last year at the age of 87 until 93, with no violations on my record. A policeman stopped me a few months ago in Perry on our way to Biloxi at about 7 o'clock in the morning. He said, "You don't know why I stopped you, do you?" I said, "I did not, because my wife and I are very conscious of the changing speed zones on the way up 19. He pointed up and said, "School zone." He took my license back, checked it out, and you see where I am here. School, he checked my driving record, which is clear, and said a school zone ticket is $400. And I'm going to give you a warning, be more careful in the future. It was a reward for having a good driving record. Why are you targeting golf carts, which are usually operating in the daylight, at a speed of probably less than 20 miles an hour? Are you having a rash of accidents with cars or golf carts or people? Why did you take your red light cameras out of Brookstone? Because the courts wouldn't enforce them. Be a lot of money for Brookstone, but it also caused more accidents. People were stopping for stop signs they never did before, and they're getting hit in the back end. I asked to see the video of the clubhouse when the entertainment or Saturday night dance or bingo lets out, or especially at the stop sign at Hampton and Hampton and Country Club Drive. They don't even slow down at the Country Club. There's nobody there. Common sense.
Don, you know, I feel your plight. The reason that everything is getting a little tighter around the clubhouse is around a lot of complaints. If you notice in front of the clubhouse, the walkways are painted. There's sign. No, let me finish. And there's been warnings, and this is to the people who are non-golfers. All the groups, let me explain something about it. Every golf group has usually a leader or two. They have been promoting, along with the president of the Golf Association, about stopping at DOT stop signs, which is what is in a parking lot out here. A lot of complaints about people zooming around, not stopping at the stop sign. So, I'm sorry you're the first one, I really am, but I watched, before every appeal case, I go visit with Greg and I go over what the appeals are all about. And I also witnessed the video. And I'm sorry, you did clearly go through it. There was another cart that was behind you. That's going to be another case up and coming. But he too, both were flagrant. We've been promoting this at the golf course for a couple months now. We've been warning people at meetings to please stop at stop signs. Allow people to cross from the parking lot into the clubhouse. We've also, there have been complaints about people walking through that first row out there in front. No SUVs. If you have to get a ladder to wash the roof of your car, you're too high. That's the way I put it. There's a lot of SUVs that are called SUVs and whatever they want to call them, kit cars or whatever. But it is a plight, and we're trying to make our roads safe. And I really feel your pain. But the fine and suspension everything goes together. And I'm just sorry you're the first one.
Well, I think it's very unfair, but I have no choice but to pay it. But it's becoming, actually, like a police state here. I've never had this problem before. I've lived for 19 years. I will pay the fine. But that's it.
I hear a lot of chatter. And I will tell you before we have our vote that Mrs. Sonia, she's not here today, Jim. What happened to her? Sonia Snyder had given us a letter that we read at the last meeting, and it was exactly for that. And when she came in, we invited 3 people. One person unfortunately did not come, who I was really hoping would come, and he did not come to that meeting to see what is the statistics. I've heard a lot lately in different social sites and chatter around the pool and certain clubs that we are a police state, that we're doing this, that, and the other thing. But the data shows and Sonia saw it yesterday, how much the traffic has absolutely slowed down. It did not slow down when we gave warnings. It did not slow down when we gave only a 14-day suspension. It did not start slowing down until we had to make it worth their while. And people don't mind paying the money, but they hate having that barcode suspended. Unfortunately, we did have people that said, well, look at how long the lines are coming into the visitors. The information that we had gotten yesterday, and we can somehow give that to everybody so that it's understandable, but it's only about 10 people at the most a month now that are getting fined for speeding. Where 2 years ago, when it was very low or we gave warnings, there was about 50 to 60 a month. And folks, it is all about safety. We are not a police state, it is about safety. And unfortunately, I live with a golfer, and I have seen him and his cronies before this, just whipping right through. Many of the carts might go only about 15 to 20 miles an hour, but I do know that a lot of them go a lot more than that because, boys and their toys, they add things. People were not stopping for traffic. People were not stopping for pedestrian. We've had so many near misses, and more than half of us in here take a little bit more time to get across that crosswalk. And that is one thing that we are dedicated to, is the safety, and that is a big issue that we've had for 20 years. It has gone down now. And look at what's happened. Our safety is fine, but now people are complaining because now they have to lose their barcode. Can't have both. So I will talk about this at every time that we have a speeding ticket. And I'm sure that Sonia will come forward at the next Wednesday meeting, and they will talk about the findings of that ad hoc committee. So if the board is ready to vote, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It is a vote. Thank you. Sure you can.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say something. I understand exactly what you're talking about, Don.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
And I don't even work for Verizon. I understand your pain. I understand exactly what you're talking about. But as Ken said, Jim Peterson and the BCCGA board has been talking about this for the last several months. It's been in the chip shots going out to all the golfers for the last 3 months. Almost every meeting that I can remember being at, I've talked to people about carts, and I'm going to use that term, not stopping at stop signs, because they're not all golfers. We have a number of people in here that have carts that are not golfers, that have a 4-digit number on them. By the way, we've also got some that are in here that are not golfers that haven't registered their carts, which is also a violation. But neither here nor there. I live at Del Rio and Mariah. I've seen at least 3 times where a golfer and a golf cart, and they were golfers because they had clubs on the back, have gotten close to being hit with cars coming down the hill at Mariah, and they don't always come to a complete stop. I've been preaching for as long as I can remember being on the board, that the stop signs are that. They're stop signs. It doesn't make any difference if there's cars there or people there or whatever. It's one of those things. What do we do if nobody's watching? Do we always stop? Do we always yield? Do we always, what do we do? And it's a fact of trying to keep people safe at the same point. I don't like the fine any more than you do. And it kills me on a 14-day suspension. But that's what the people had asked for originally. And we're investigating into some of those things at the same point. And I, along with Ken, I'm sorry you're the first one, but I had to speak to it. Because next time you sit beside me at the Monday show, I don't want you to hit me or anything, okay?
Don, if it's any consolation, the guys in my golf group, I yelled at one of them one day because he did not stop at that stop sign. And I warned him, I can't do nothing because I'm not code enforcement. All I can do is advise him, you better start stopping at the stop sign. It's any golf cart, any car. It's just golf carts, it's cars also. Anybody.
Okay. Now we're going to have report of directors, and this is the part with the committee reports and projects. Is there anybody who has a liaison report or any clubs or committees that you're chairing? You can go first, since Linda's not here.
Unit reps and the board are still looking for, and the nominating committee is still looking at resumes. You've got till the 17th to get a resume in for being either a unit rep or looking for 4 new ones for that. We've got some people that are retiring off because of some health reasons. So we're looking at 4 resumes there. We're looking at resumes for the board of directors. We've got 4 openings there. I'd love to see 5 or 6 people running for that so that we've got people to vote for. We've always got people to vote for, but if there's 4, it's not as fun. So please get your resume in by the 17th for both of those. The Fall Festival went off. There's going to be an article in News and Views. There's one in the Chip Shots already. The Fall Festival made right at $7,300 towards a new sign. We ended up giving out, in the 50-50 raffle, we gave out prizes of $390 in the 50-50 raffle, so there were nice prizes out there. The golfers shared in prizes of right at $420. So the golfers had some good cash prizes themselves, as well as gifts that were donated by golfers and non-golfers and some vendors. So each golfer walked out with a prize at that same point. I want to thank everybody that came. We had 44 volunteers that came forward and helped with everything from setting tents up to setting the games up to running the games while they were there. And without those volunteers, it would have been just an impossible task. We are looking, if you're interested in it or know somebody that's interested, we're looking for 3 golfers, 3 non-golfers that will be the committee for that for next year. We'd like to get together with them so that they can start planning it in December. There's some things we would have loved to have this year, but we just we did not have the time or the energy in a lot of cases to go to those. So if you're interested, please let Linda or I know, or stop by the office and tell them, and they'll let us know so that we can start putting the committee together. The festival next year should be and will be bigger and better than this year. We had right at 300 people, including the golfers, that were up and around at the festival. We got to throw some nice balls. I didn't hit the target once, but we did put some people in the water more than one time.
35.
Which was good. The dunk tank did make good money. We'd like to make more money off it next year. So anyway, thank you from me to everybody that helped and participated, and everybody that came up and enjoyed, and we'll do it again next year. Somebody will.
He thinks, not him. And you know, I just have to say, we started this in September, and to pull off, and let's get it right out there. A lot of people boycotted because it was for the sign. But the other thing was, a lot of people came that weren't for the sign. They ended up coming and seeing neighbors that they hadn't seen. They got to see a lot of the music that was going on. So everybody had a great time. And we're hoping to make this even better for more of our neighbors to come together. I know in the summertime, years and years ago, they had a huge 4th of July where hundreds and hundreds of people came. A lot of people aren't here in July, so we're hoping to make this an annual event, and more of you will come because everybody had a fantastic time. And you didn't even have to spend any money. You just could come up and listen to the music, which some people did. So I was really happy that we did this, and I want to commend Ron and Linda for taking that on such a short notice. And we netted 7,300. We actually grossed over 11,000. Is that correct? After the
$12,881.
not bad for the first time. $1,281. $12,081. Yes.
Did anyone get a hole-in-one?
Nobody got the hole-in-one.
Or a golf cart. There was a new golf cart also, nobody got a hold of it.
Yeah, nobody got the golf cart. Or the clubs, the register. Rick Matthews? Rick Matthews also gave us a nice set of ping golf clubs that King Cobras? King Cobras.
Yeah.
King Cobras. And unfortunately, nobody won that this year. So thank you.
Yes.
Brad Bennett, if you were at the Veterans Day event, Brad was the Marine that gave the talk, and Brad is the one that won the golf cart that was up for raffle. So if you see him, tell him you want to ride in his golf cart.
What a great person to give it to. Who's next?
Yes, I want to thank Linda and Ron for that great endeavor. That was a really good show. I just want to remind my AVRC folks, our meeting is at 8:30, the day after the regular board meeting. So, be there. Thank you.
That's the Wednesday night meeting?
That's it. After the Wednesday night meeting.
Thank you. Rosemary, do you have anything? Any reports? No? Great.
I would just like to say that the ACC committee is full, that we are always taking resumes because we never know when somebody's going to resign or have to quit for whatever reason, so it's not a bad idea to have a list of people that we can call and see if they're interested. And also, I would like to thank Ron and Linda and Vince and all the people that did participate in putting that together. That was a very nice day. It was not quite what we were expecting, but it was, it was the first time, and maybe next year we'll have a better cause rather than the sign to have a festival. And the thing was, it wasn't just a project to raise money for the sign. It was to get out, meet your neighbors, and have fun, and to make it more of a social event than just a fundraiser. So, again, Ron, thank you, and Linda, and everybody else.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. As the board president, it is my duty to appoint liaisons, and there is a vacancy as the liaison to the RV compound, and I am going to appoint Ray Welts as the new liaison to the compound. Ray Welts, that guy down there, okay, yes. Yeah, the three of us will get together, just kind of get Ray acquainted. Yeah, we'll do that as quickly as possible, Jim? Okay, yes, that's right. The second thing I'd like to say is the Christmas lights look beautiful. The beautification committee did a beautiful job in the front, and the public works and the clubhouse monitors and Vince did all of the others. And Vince just wanted me to remind you that there is a Christmas tree out by the tennis courts that's lit up. It's all white, and that is in reverence to all of our fallen and present veterans. So just go take a moment and to thank and remember all of those people. So I want to thank Vince for taking that on. And the third thing, I've been here for 3 years as your president, and John and I have been here for 4 years, and we have been on a schedule since the first day that we have been here. John had to golf 5 days a week. That's his new job. That's what he came down here for. So, because John was golfing so much, I had nothing to do. So when somebody suggested I'd come on board, didn't think I was going to be sitting here right away, but I was. I'm going to turn 65 on Christmas, and I have not been retired yet. And in October, John and I, we have a camper, and we got to go to Rainbow Springs State Park, which is absolutely beautiful. It's up in Dunellen. And we sat there and we said, you know, it's a shame that we have not discovered Florida. We've gone on other trips, but we have not discovered Florida. The only way to do that is to take 4 or 5 days off at a time. And my last meeting is going to be the annual meeting. I'm going to take a sabbatical. I don't see me not coming back here, but I believe that we have a really good board. We have done great strides with this board, and I trust them. Even if I didn't, I'd have to go, because if I don't go now, I won't go. So so any rumors that are going around, I take adversity as well as the compliments. I've done it for 3 years, so I want you to know firsthand the reason I'm doing it is that John's older than I am. I'm going to be 65, and I want a year to just relax and spend some time enjoying Florida. But I will still be in the loop whenever I'm here. I will be watching these guys to make sure that they're doing a good job. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that that is the reason. So my seat's going to be open, and I encourage, there's a couple of people that have come forward, and I'm very happy about that. I want to remind everybody that the only way a board, this board, a school board, any board, survives is when you do it for the good of who you're working for. We take care of Brookridge. There are 7 of us, plus our management, that takes care of 5,500 people. And sometimes it's difficult, but I've had a great time meeting so many people. And I hope that this continues, that you'll keep supporting, you know, the board that you have. We have 4 positions open. Rosemary and Ray are up for re-election, but we also have 2 positions that are free. So anybody who would like to think about it, I welcome to come into my office, and you can hear a little bit more, which 2 people already have. Actually, 3 people have. 1 person hasn't put their resume in yet, but we have 2 already. So I just wanted to let you know that, so, because I know rumors go all over the place. Next we will do, before we go to the member comments, we have member comments for the board. Okay.
Couple of things. As you know, the clubhouse is really, you'll have to forgive me, my throat is bad. The clubhouse has been decorated by the Social Dance Committee. The decorations will stay up until the 30th of December. The ladies of Brookridge were responsible for that beautiful tree in the corner there. They purchased the tree. Most of the ornaments are handmade, and we decorated the tree, and that will also stay up through New Year's Eve. The other thing is, we have, the Social Dance Committee has 11 tickets left for New Year's Eve. That's an evening in Paris. It's $40 a person for a 5-course meal, dancing, champagne at midnight. We'd like to get rid of those, not get rid of, but we'd like to sell those tickets to fill the hall. We have 4 sets of pair, 2, and then the other 3 are singles. So if you want to come and enjoy a wonderful New Year's Eve with the community, you're more than welcome. And I'll tell you, The meal is fabulous. John Mason, I'm sure many of you know John Mason, our caterer. So the other thing is to remind everybody, next Saturday and Sunday, the Music Ears will be putting on their annual Christmas concert called Christmas Spirit. This is what we call a free will donation concert. It's from the 15th and 16th from 3 to 5 p.m. And we'll give you cookies if you come. So, and just so you know, I'd like you to come because I am doing Panis Angelicus in Latin as a solo, if my voice gets better. But anyway, it's a wonderful afternoon. It's 3 to 5. You can sit in these comfy chairs and enjoy 2 hours of music. We're also going to get you guys up in carol sing-along, but this is the thing that we have worked hard at. The Music Ears have worked 10 weeks of rehearsals to put this on, so we'd like your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary.
That's the 14th and 15th, right? Yeah. 15th and 16th? Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. Okay, cool. One other thing I forgot to mention is that we're looking at the possibility in February for a fundraiser of having a horse racing event here. That'll involve the big screen and betting booths, if you want to bet. That's how we're going to make money. There's going to be a DJ if we go through with it. We're still in the very formulative plans, but be looking for information on that. That'll be in February.
Thank you. Okay? Good. Okay. I have one more. You know how I always love rumors? This is the rumor of the day. Oh no. Oh no. This takes the cake on this one. A gentleman called me this morning at 20 minutes to 8. And he was, can I say, very angry? It took me a few minutes to figure out what he was saying. He met somebody walking. All righty. What a great segue, huh?
He does that all the time.
Are we all done?
Can you give me that ring?
I was so intrigued to having Peggy say the Pledge of Allegiance, I forgot to tell everybody to turn off their cell phones. Okay. This woman came up to this gentleman, and she was quite angry. Her statement was that somebody told her, and I know who that somebody is, and I'm not going to name any names, that someone of us took money from the reserves. The state found out, and they are doing an audit because it was lots of money, and they are going to take over Brookridge. Now, they said the residents are going to be forced to pay between $10 and $500 until we get that money back in the reserves. Now, people, that is, for the record, that is a rumor. That is not true. But those are the types of things that happen. And I will tell you, the last couple of weeks, there has been a lot of stuff similar to that on social media. And what that does, it does not embarrass the board of directors. What it does is it hurts every one of you in Brookridge. And this woman was adamant because her source was a good source. Well, I know who this source is, so if you're listening, you know exactly who you are, and I will deal with you privately. But this is the types of things. People, that is not happening, okay? We didn't get the dollar raise in the reserves. As you see, we're already starting to figure out where we're going to get that money from. We will be working with the state to see if they can get a reprieve. In January, we are going to have a town meeting just for reserves. And I will encourage every one of you to bring a neighbor to hear exactly what the reserves entails. They are not a capital improvement. There are two different reasons. Those are two different entities. And reserves, we are mandated by state statute. We do not have this pocket of $1 million that we can do whatever we want with. That is not correct. And believe me, if anybody did that, the sheriff's office would have already been here to take care of that, because that's what the state of Florida has done since 1999, because things like that did happen when all of these places first opened. And we can't stress enough that we go by state statutes. So if any of you should hear that rumor, please give them some advice and be very careful what they say, because it only hurts all of us. Doesn't hurt me, I got nothing to lose. It can hurt our board, and especially hurts our management. And we have an audit every single year to protect your funds. And that is written in the bylaws, so there isn't 1 year that we can't spend that $5,000 to $6,000. So, that said, we're open to member comments. Please don't be intimidated. This hand was raised first.
Good morning. I'm Vivian Blair. I live in Section 4, and I'm concerned about the sign situation, that a donation was made by the RV compound. I discussed this with Gail already. Yes, you did. I did not know that the RV compound was a club, and I don't know if other people know it. Every month they're begging for money for improvements in the RV compound, like the lights, the security, whatever other things they need. I have a little unit in there. It's just a little trailer. But I strongly resent the fact that money was given to the sign. I donate for improvements in that compound. And as far as I'm concerned, whoever gave this money for the sign did not get permission from all the people that donated, and therefore, I think it's misappropriation of funds. And because of this, you can beg all you want. You won't get another dime out of me. And whoever I talk to that has a unit in the compound and they give a donation, I will give them my opinion and let them go forward. I'm not happy about this at all.
Vivian, thank you for coming forward, because you and I have spoken about that. The RV compound is run by the RV compound committee, and we had explained that unfortunately you weren't at that meeting, and it was a member meeting, and that can be brought up at the next meeting. I think it's January.
There needs to be a better advertisement. I didn't know it was a club and that we were more or less required to go to these meetings. I thought the RV compound was
it's a committee. It's a committee, but the committee has the right to make, the members that are there have the right to decide what they're going to do with the money.
That's right.
And
I have a right to deny giving money, and I won't give another dime. And anyone I talk to, I will encourage them not to, because it's not going for the RV compound that they keep begging for. It's going other places at someone's discretion.
Okay, and I understand that, and we had talked about it, and at the next meeting, you are certainly welcome to bring that back up.
And I have one more. No, I'm finished with that. Thank you for listening. Okay. Would you please, in the news and views, put in what all these initials are? What the heck is what is the one you said just coming up?
Oh, ACC.
What is that? I don't go by initials. I have no clue what any of these things are.
That's a great point. Thank you. I think that we could...
Actually, it's in the news and views what they are.
Is it really?
Yes.
Can you show me, please?
Okay, well, our time is up, but we will do a sidebar, okay? And that's where we get information. Okay, Jackie, would you like to come up, please? Thank you, Vivian.
I'd like to report on the garage sale.
Okay, could you two, if you could take that to the side, we want to listen to her.
You're being rude when somebody's trying to address everything.
Yes.
That's what she asked you to be quiet about. I
Right.
like to hear her, I don't need to hear you.
Right, that's what I said, if you could go outside and discuss it. Thank you.
My letter to the BCPO board. Thank you for allowing the Brookridge community to have our fall garage sale on November 17th, 2018. Thanks to the many, many, many people that helped Sue Habercoast and myself fill e-room with the treasures that so many people donated. There are too many people to mention by name, and I was told not to. And we would have done that. But there's many, many people that did come to help. Our expenses were $98.82 for donuts that were then sold and at a profit. And the food that we bought, the hot dogs and the rolls, etc., and all of that came to a total expense of $242.68. We made $570 on table sales and $1,089.25 plus another 20, with a total of $1,679.25. I was happy to help out the clubhouse with any tools that were donated to us that they could use. We gave them to them. And we donated to the armed forces, the boys and the ladies that are serving our country, any of the little ornaments that they could have sent to them. Leftovers were donated to Karen's Kit and Caboodle at St. Andrew's Church, helping the less fortunate and the homeless people. But thank you for letting us do this.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Jackie does a fantastic job every single year, and what a great thing. I saw another hand up. Okay.
Marjorie, Unit 4. I'd like to get some clarification. We have an RV club in this community. It has nothing to do with the compound. There's a compound committee. It is not a club. Is compound a club?
That's compound committee.
Compound committee, thank you.
Thank you, Marge. Yes, right, it is, I did correct myself, it is a committee, yeah. I was thinking the RV Compound Club, but it is a committee. Do you have a, yeah?
Hi, I'm Patrona Terman. I'm in Unit 3, but I also work here in the clubhouse, and that's what I want to talk about. Clubhouse. I want to remind everyone that the club meeting is being held tomorrow morning. If you are a club or a committee and you want to reserve space here in the clubhouse or any of the surrounding area, we do have a form that you fill out and a little calendar that we go by. So tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, if you haven't received your packet or are confused or have questions, please come at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a little meeting, and I'm going to have donuts and coffee. For everybody who comes to the meeting.
You said you were up there.
I'm going to have, yeah. Also, the packets are all due back, as many as we can get back by the 15th of December, so that we can work on the 2020 calendar. That's the packets that we're doing now for 2020. Third, my liaison isn't here for the expo, Miss Linda, and it will be January the 23rd from 10 till 1 here in the clubhouse. That's a Wednesday. We have some repeat vendors coming, and I've had some new vendors asked to come already. We'll have free hearing tests, free eye exams, free blood pressure taken. The gentleman from Pine Brook Pharmacy always brings lots of little goodies to give away. Blood pressure cuffs and all kinds of good things he brings. He's going to do some A1C testing for us this year, and is working on perhaps being able to do a bone density testing that day. We're also going to have the virtual dementia bus from Senior Helpers. If you've ever seen that bus, it's a fantastic thing that you can tour that day. The Bloodmobile, of course, will be here, set up inside. And we're again collecting glasses, both reading and prescription glasses, for the Lighthouse for the Blind. They're going to be here again this year as well. And the Sheriff's Department has called, and they're going to have a couple of extra things here this year. We're working on those, so stay tuned.
Patroni, before you leave, could you again say the date and the time?
Wednesday, January the 23rd, 2019, here in the clubhouse from 10 a.m. until 1 a.m. Okay?
Well, 1 p.m.
1 p.m., I'm sorry. Oh, well. Sometimes it feels like it's that long when you're getting it all together. But that's when it's going to be this year. We moved it from March into January. I'm going to try to do it in January every year because more of us are here.
Yes. Okay. Lots going on in March, too.
Yes, ma'am.
That's for the club meetings?
For the committee meetings, or a lot of those are held in the administration building, and that's mainly for the calendar, because you probably already know your dates for them.
Okay. Anybody else? Sure. I see a hand back there, too. Yeah. No. He's being such a gentleman. There was a person in the back. I saw a hand go up. Yeah.
My name is Jim Solomon. The power of the microphone. You guys all feel it up there. Okay, I'm a snowbird. I'm here for 5 months, and I go home in the summer up in Michigan, and I get a violation notice for mold. I don't know how you control mold. I mean, it's a natural occurrence. So I drove down 1,150 miles and power washed my whole mold, and I called and I called and left a message because enforcement does not answer a phone. It's always a message. And waited a couple of weeks, and I called back and said, well, what's going on? I come down there, washed the house, and called you guys, let you know about it, and I don't hear anything. And Harry said, well, if you don't hear nothing, then you're okay. And now and then I got suspended for 2 weeks. I didn't even know about it until I tried to drive the car in. It didn't matter to me. It was just, I come down here a few times a month. I drive for somebody. I just don't appreciate you know, I'm here for 5 months, and then when I go home, you send me a violation notice. It's out of my control somewhat. I mean, I don't need riches to go hire somebody to do it, but when you take a picture of my home, the mold on my home, you're standing in somebody else's private driveway. They have vines growing up over their screen windows on both sides of their house, and they have plants growing out of their gutters, but I'm the one that gets in trouble. And, you know, I've been working on my stuff, but I can't do it all at once by myself, but I want to help, and I pay people to do it when I'm going to have a complaint after they're done, and I just don't want to do it that way. And I was on the road the other day, Jacqueline and Mariner Drive, and didn't come to a complete stop, and the officer pulled me over, and he said, you know better, stop. No ticket, no fine, no nothing. Just And I don't know what percentage of people you think you're catching speeding and not stopping at stop signs. I guarantee it's less than 1%. You're not catching people, because I see it every day. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, what is your address?
I'm not telling you, because I'm not, there's somebody reporting me. Somebody's reporting.
Okay, no, okay, I was just, what unit are you in? Because you have to give either a unit or an address.
I'll say somebody's calling on my house.
Okay, calling
on me, somebody that doesn't like me.
Okay, let's just talk about that for a second. Okay? Yeah. First of all, when this is a huge issue. Okay? Homeowners associations, you pay your fees 12 months out of the year. You are responsible for your home 12 months out of the year, whether you are here or not. That is the contract that you signed. You signed a contract. This is a 55-plus deeded restricted community. Deed restrictions occur 365 days a year. It is not just when you're not here. You have a responsibility to comply with the deed restrictions. When you get a warning, and the warning, nobody just gets the fine. Speeding, we're not going to talk about speeding, but everything else between clutter in your carport, weeds growing out of your gutters, mold, torn screens, things like that. You are all given 2 weeks. You get a letter. Every single person gets a letter. And I have had so many people come into my office and say, I never got the letter, and then I pull out their file and I said, there's the letters. How come you just got that one and you missed the 5 before? We give ample time. And I'm sorry that people that are away, you still have a responsibility to Brookridge, to your neighbors, because the neighbors that are here full-time have to look at the dirty molding. They have to look at the grass that's not growing. They have to look at the weeds growing in the gutters. It is not just for when you're here. You have a responsibility 365 days out of the year. That is the contract that you signed. You come in and you see that sign, deed restricted. We give you 2 weeks to come into compliance. We don't just send you a letter in and say, that's it, you know, you're fined. We give you 2 weeks in that letter, and then we send you a letter of hearing. And in each of those letters, it says, if if this has been done and you feel it's not yours, then you need to call code enforcement. You have to read your letters. I'm sorry, we're over 55 years old, and I cannot tell you how many times people have come into my office and said, I get a $1,000 fine. And then I pull out every single one of their letters, which comes every 5 days, and they say, well, I don't pay attention to that. But it's so funny that you pay attention when you actually get the fine. And so many people come to me afterwards and said, that really wasn't fair because he wasn't here or whatever. We do not spring anything on people. What happened this summer was that we had so much rain and we had so many homes that were really a mess. And those of us that are here, and I'm not the only one, there's at least 50% of the people that are here. Yeah, people are going to complain, but I am not even going to suggest that the person that squealed on somebody, they're not going to get it because they get the fine too. That time in August, we actually had our security go down every single street going 5 miles an hour. It took them 2 whole days. There are 2,600 homes here. There are 33 miles. Yeah, you're gonna catch one every so often, but on that one Friday and Saturday, we had 110 violations that the rest of us have had to look at all summer long. And it might not matter to you if he's on the other side of the street, but if it's in your backyard or your next door, it affects you. And the fact that you came down, and I've had many people say that, and I said, it's going to cost you $75 to hire somebody. You just call the office, and as soon as you have that date, and we see that you have that contract with that company, we don't fine you until we find out when they've done it. But as long as you have, and we tell people this is not the first time I have said it, it is not the first time that Captain Schubert has said it, because people are in that office all the time. We listen to you. We are not the Gestapo. We are not fine happy. And believe me, not one penny of those fines is going to the sign. And it gets old after a while. But the main thing I want every one of you to take from here is, like that gentleman, he did not get a fine immediately. He was given, just like any one of you, 14 days to 28 days to take care of his problem. That he chose to come down here, I have no control over that. But we have many companies that will do this, and as long as you get that appointment from them, we wait until that date that they're supposed to come before we fine. So I'm sorry, but for someone to come 1,500 miles when you could spend $75 and have any of the power washing companies do it, I don't understand why you do that, because it's going to cost you a lot more money than $75 to come down here. I have a person right now that did that. They did it in July. Well, by August, their house was moldy because they didn't do the whole thing. Now they're upset with us because there's one side, but it's still one side. And the rule is it's a deed restriction. And I'm sure that most of you come in here because you don't want, go up on Mariner. Just take a ride up on Mariner before St. Comprini Church. And you tell me if that's the type of neighborhood that you want to live in. We don't live in a neighborhood like that. We own our property, but we still have an obligation to the homeowners association, and that's when you come in that gate, you are part of the homeowners association. So I'm sorry, but that's the reason why we do it, and it's not to find new things. It is in your deed restrictions, and that's why you came here.
I got 3 letters in the mail, and you write in red ink on a violation notice, hearing notice.
No, it's a notice of violation. All I can say is, everybody, when you get a letter from Brookridge, you need to read it, because in that notice of violation, that gentleman, just like anybody else, there is a 2 to 4 week window that you have. You have that. We don't want to fine people. We want you to keep your property so that it's a property that we can all be proud of if we're sitting next door. Would you like to come up? Yeah.
Okay, Lucille over here, a member of Brookridge community.
Can't hear you, Lucille.
Can you give us the unit number?
Unit 4.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm also having trouble with my voice.
I can hear you.
Okay. Basically, I keep hearing that from different people, that they try to call, especially if they're out of state, and they get the problem solved, but they try to call, they leave messages, and 2 or 3 times trying to get some response, and they don't get it. So is there a better system that can be put in place?
That is something that we are reviewing. But I will tell you, Lucy, because you specifically asked the question, there was a few times when people have said that, and when we go back through the records, there was no calls. They didn't leave a message or whatever, there was no calls. There are times when that has happened, and we are looking into that, but we do know that there are sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But that is something that we are actively working on, because we heard that last month.
All right, it's because I do know that for some, I'm not saying they're making it up and I'm not judging them, but that could be a problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we are working on that. You, sir.
Dave Geelan, Unit 4. I came to address you about my concerns about the garbage situation changing, but during the meeting, something else came up. If you don't mind, can I address Greg directly? Because I have no idea.
Sure.
What is the regulation about a golf cart coming to a street? Do they have to stop if there's traffic on the street?
Yes.
Well, as I came down Midmore today to come to the meeting, there were 4 carts, and I love it that everybody drives their own cart, that they thought they were more important. You know, not real smart. I drive an F-51 Ford pickup. I don't think a golf cart will stand a real good chance against the pickup. Yeah, well, I'm not going to hit them, but at the same time. So whatever the golfers are doing, they might want to tell the people a little bit better that if they get hit, we'll find out who's going to be at fault. Okay? Earlier, you read some changes that were in the regulations. I'm a collector. I would like to see them in print as I've seen them before, because I have a printed copy of the regulations, and when you modify them, I modify mine or I attach it to. When you read it to me, and I don't have a copy in my hand, difficult for me to attach it to, because I don't write real fast. So I would appreciate it when you're going to change something. In the past, I've seen, here's what it says now, and in parentheses down below, or vice versa, is the change. If that was going to be printed, that would be very nice.
Okay, thank you. And Greg, right?
Yeah, those changes were made to the rules and regulations last January or February. Go to brookridge.com, forms and documents, recent changes to documents, and they're broken out by the last changes to deed restrictions, rules and regulations, ACC guidelines, bylaws. But it's right there on the web, or just go see Vivi and she'll print it for you.
Okay, that's fine, as long as the people know that they can get them, because not everybody has a computer.
Right, they're also posted on the bulletin board by the pool, right?
At
the changes. At the time, yeah.
That doesn't give me a copy that's accessible.
No, that's right.
Ray's given me a reason that a
Yeah.
copy is accessible as long as I have a computer, or if I'm willing to stop and see a video.
Exactly.
The garbage change, all right? My memory's not that great, but I remember some things.
Excuse me,
Sure.
and I'm a little hard of hearing, so.
No problem.
Thanks.
My memory's not that great. I thought some time ago, whether there was a formal or informal situation, there was a discussion about the big garbage cans. It was turned down not unanimously, but strongly, all right? I happen to have one of those cans in Michigan. I'm concerned, are they going to only pick those up, or are they going to stop for the people that cannot move that can? There are going to be certain people that cannot move the can. The other scenario is, I've owned 6 homes in here, okay? 2 of them, if I was the second car in the driveway, I always backed in, because if you didn't, you couldn't hold the door open and get out. That was 12 years ago. I could have possibly got the can down. I don't know if I could have got the can up. And when I got it down, it would have had to sit in the street, because there was no way it could sit on the lawn. Even when I took a regular garbage can out, I had to put something under it to try to keep it semi-straight on the curb, all right? So I'm concerned. You know, were we told that by the vendor, or was it something we did? And if we were told by the vendor, were there any other vendors explored, okay? Also, being a business person, we know there's gonna be a substantial savings to the company. They're gonna lose at least one person a truck, okay? Sometimes two. I don't know how many trucks are in there on a given day. I do not know if they fill, and they have to drive to be empty and then returned. If they do, those other people are still being paid, okay? So if they're gonna save all these funds, and I have no problem with the business making money, I think we should share in it, but to be forced, that's questionable to me.
Okay. Either I can answer that, or Ray, would you like me to try to answer that? Okay. Okay. Here's the situation with the garbage. You know, most people in Hernando County, not only us, have a lot of problems with the vendor that we have. Last year, this past summer, as a matter of fact, the county commissioners in Brooksville, in Hernando County, said that they were going to look at different vendors, and they had asked people from the public to come. I won't say too much about our board, our county commissioners, but they decided, no matter what the problems were, that they stayed with this president and gave them 7 years. We have no choice because we are part of the county. Individual HOAs and homeowners have no choice. So we know all the problems that we're still having. Many people have written to the board of the county commissioners to no avail. I know that one person in here has personally been able to speak with the people that matter. It's because there's people up in South Carolina, but she was able to speak with somebody here. It worked for a couple of weeks and then it was back off. We've approached the county commissioners. In a word, they don't care. Now what they have done is we got the letter from the Service Republic, right? Correct? Republic Service advising every homeowner association and condo association and all of the people in Hernando County that this is what we are going to do. They gave us a choice of 65-gallon barrels and the 90-gallon barrels. The only choice, the only thing that the HOAs, which included Brookridge, was to tell them which ones we wanted. Because if we didn't take a vote, everybody would get a 90-gallon thing. They could probably fit 3 of me in there. They tried, but I didn't allow them to do that. But so the 65-gallon one was the smallest that we could do. They listen, these are the facts. I know it's not, they're very heavy, and I know where I used to live back in Massachusetts, they had smaller ones for most of the people, like many of you that have 1 bag or so. They would not allow that. That wasn't even an option. So unfortunately, they are going to be passing out the 65-gallon tubs, and they are going to, it will come with instructions. And they said that Brookridge should get it probably in January sometime, because they're doing the whole county. Our time is, and they're all going on either the beginning of February, the end of February. If you do not have your garbage in that can, they will not pick it up. Unfortunately, this is how the county works. And I can't help it because I'm political. Shame on the people that put the same people back in office. And in Brookridge alone, it was 2/3 of the voters that put the people back in office. We are now stuck with this until there is a change on the county commissioners. That's where the county hurts Brookridge and all of the other people involved. Unfortunately, we have no choice. And I apologize, but I'm glad you brought it up, Dave, because a lot of people probably don't realize that. And the other thing, and it could be one reason, you know, besides it saving them money, and our prices aren't going to be going down, you know that. But all these